Hello friends, welcome to the video lecture on the syllabus discussion on Indian economic environment paper first. In my earlier lecture yesterday, I explained the importance or objectives of studying the paper on Indian economic environment. As I mentioned in our earlier classes, in BCom first and BCom second year you studied some papers of economics, and in the same way in the BCom third year you are going to study two papers which belongs to the subject economics, that is Indian economic environment and cooperative development. So in my earlier lecture I took an overview of what you have studied in earlier classes and what you are going to study in this particular third year of BCom. So now today I will discuss the syllabus of Indian economic environment and detailed contents of the syllabus of this particular paper. Here the very first unit of our paper, Indian economic environment, the title of the first unit is Introduction to Indian Economy. This particular unit gives an introductory and brief information about the status or scenario of our Indian economy. At the very outset, there are four contents included in the first unit. The first content is about the meaning and types of economy, in which we will study what is meant by economy. As we hear the word the Indian economy, American economy, economy of Japan, economy of Germany, economy of England. So each and every country is having their own economic setup. Each and every country having their own economy. So what this economy means, how the economy functions, how the economy runs. So that is what we will study at this very first point in the meaning and types of economy. So second point in this first content is types of economy. Types of economy means there are three types of economies: capitalist economy, socialist economy and mixed economy. After understanding the definition and meaning of economy, we will study these three types of economy: capitalist economy, socialist economy and mixed economy. The capitalist economy is that type of economy where all the factors of production in this particular economy is owned by private individuals. All the factors of production are owned by private individuals in this capitalist economy. The second type, socialist economy, all the factors of production are owned by government agency. That economy is known as socialist economy, where factors of production are owned by the government agency or it is owned by public authority. Then third type of economy is mixed economy. In the mixed economy, there is a coexistence of capitalist economy and socialist economy. Some part of factors of production are owned by government agency and some part of factors of production are owned by private individuals or private capitalists. Coexistence. There exists capitalist economy and there also exists socialist economy. That type of economy is known as mixed economy. So in detail we will study in this particular first content the characteristics of capitalist economy, features of socialist economy and features of mixed economy. Then After understanding the meaning, nature and types of economy, in the second content, that is 1.2, we will study the characteristics of Indian economy. There are round about 15-16 characteristics we can mention of Indian economy. We can mention 15 to 16 characteristics of Indian economy. For example, Indian economy is a developing economy. It is having a low per capita income, predominance of agricultural sector in Indian economy, increasing population, prevalence of or existence of poverty, unemployment. These are some of the characteristics of a low level of human development, a low level of capital generation, technological development, low level of technological development. These are some of the characteristics of our Indian economy. After studying the characteristics of Indian economy, we will be in a position to understand the status of our Indian economy at the global level. As we always hear that the some of the economies are developed, but our economy is not developed, it is developing. Why it is developing? What is the reason of its developing nature? Why it is not a developed economy? So the questions of these answers we will get while studying the second point, that is characteristics of Indian economy. So we will get the idea, basic idea, a structure, the basic functioning of our Indian economy after studying this particular point number 1.2. Then in the next point, that is 1.3, we will discuss about the national income growth and composition. As already you people in your earlier classes, that is at BCom second level, you studied the concept of national income and various concepts which are related with national income. So in this particular year, in this particular paper, what we are going to study? We are going to study the composition and growth of India's national income. As we know, national income is one of the indicators of economic development. In the part of composition, what we will study, in the part of this composition of national income, we will study how the national income is calculated, what are the components included in order to measure the national income. And while studying the growth of national income, we will study what is the trend of the growth of national income. What was the status of this national income in earlier years and what is the status of national income in the current year. So if you take a look at the growth of national income, or if you take a look at the statistical data regarding national income, we know that in last decade, in last 1 or 2 decades, the national income is continuously increasing. The increasing trend of national income is an indicator of the growth of the economy. Means, no doubt, from last 3-4 decades, the development and growth process of Indian economy is going on. The India is moving towards the development because one of the indicators, that is national income, is continuously increasing. But what is the trend of this national income? What was the level of national income in 1950s? What was the status of national income in 1990s? And what is the status of national income in this current scenario, in the current time period? That is what we will discuss while studying the growth of national income and composition of national income. From this growth and composition of national income, what we will understand is, we will understand the development process of our country, how our Indian economy is moving towards the development. And after this, at the last of this first unit, in the point 1.4, this content, the last content of the first unit, we will study Human Development Index and Gross National Happiness Index. The fourth content of the first unit is about Human Development Index and Gross National Happiness Index, concepts and status of Human Development Index and Gross National Happiness Index in India. So Human Development Index is one of the indicators of measuring economic development. In the same way, Gross National Happiness Index is further development in order to measure the development of an individual human being. Human Development Index is the one of the indicators which measures the development of human resources of that particular country. In the same way, Gross National Happiness Index is also used to measure the level of development of the human society. So here in this particular unit 1.4, content number 1.4, we will discuss the concepts of Human Development Index and Gross National Happiness Index. Human Development Index is based on three particular indicators: level of schooling, health, and income of an individual. These are the three indicators: education, income, and health. On the basis of three indicators, an index is calculated for measuring the development of human beings. In the same way, in Gross National Happiness Index, total number of 33 indicators are considered to measure the development of human society in order to measure the happiness index of an individual of a particular country. Particularly, while measuring Gross National Happiness Index, the emphasis is given on the governance, the functioning of the governance in that particular country, social development of that particular country, environmental sustainability of that particular country. The emphasis is given on these indicators while measuring happiness index. So in detail, we will study while studying this particular content in coming lectures. So in this way, this is our first unit, which explains, in which we will study the introduction of the Indian economy. After completing this particular unit, the students, you people are in position to understand what is the nature of our economy, how our economy functions, what is the development status of our economy. So that's why, in order to understand this particular scenario, it is important to understand the very first unit of our syllabus, that is Indian economic environment. Now we will move towards our second unit. The second unit of our syllabus is related with the agricultural development. It is the second unit which focuses on the agricultural sector of our Indian economy. What is the status of agricultural development in our country? At the time of independence in 1950s, the Indian economy was known as an agrarian economy. Still after 7 decades of our independence, still mostly the maximum number of labor force still depends upon the agricultural sector for their livelihoods. Means we can't neglect the important role of our agricultural sector in the overall development of our economy. As far as the share of agricultural sector in national income is concerned, the role of agricultural sector plays a very important role. Then, at the other hand, as far as the employment generation is concerned, the agricultural sector also plays an important role in employment generation. As far as our exports are concerned, the agricultural sector, the primary sector, plays an important role in our economy. Still after 7 decades of independence and planned economic development, still our economy is known as an agrarian economy. So that's why the agricultural sector is a very important sector in the Indian economy, the developing economy uh, of our country. So in this particular unit, at the 2.1 first content, we will study the present status of Indian agriculture. Present status of Indian agricultural means how much of labor force is engaged on agricultural sector for their livelihood. What amount of laborers will get employment out of agricultural sector? What amount of food grains does the agricultural sector is supplying to our economy? Whether the supply of the food grain is sufficient for our country? So these are the facts, these are the points which will be discussed in this particular point on present status of agriculture in Indian economy. How much of income this agricultural sector is generating in order to contribute towards the national income? What amount of people are engaged in agricultural sector for their livelihood? What amount of people engaged in agricultural sector for employment? What amount we are earning out of exports of agricultural sector? Means what is the role of agricultural sector in our international trade? These all are the points which we will discuss in this particular point 2.1 present status of Indian agriculture. Then the second point, the second content of the second unit is about the agricultural marketing problems and prospects, and another point is agricultural pricing review and critical evaluation. The 2 points, agricultural marketing, 2 issues, agricultural marketing and agricultural price policy included in the second point. In agricultural marketing, it is the process of buying and selling of agricultural commodities. The farmer is the producer of agricultural commodities or agricultural produce, and customer is the buyer of that commodity. So in between these two, there are n number of mediators they are working in order to move the commodities from producers to consumers. There are n number of middlemen, n number of mediators are working in between these two. The end consumer is not directly purchasing the commodities from the farmer, the primary producer. So what is the role of these mediators and how these mediators are deceiving to both the parties? At the one end they are deceiving to the farmers, and the other hand they are deceiving to the customers. These middlemen, these mediators, they are purchasing the commodities or agricultural produce at a lower prices from the farmers, and they are selling the same commodity at the higher prices to the customers. So farmers are not getting the actual price at which the consumer is purchasing that particular commodity. So this is what the problem, this is the problems which are related with agricultural marketing process. So that we will focus, that we will study in this particular point. Then after completing this, we will move towards the another point that is related with agricultural pricing. Agricultural pricing means it is essential to maintain a stability in the prices of agricultural commodity. As we know, the agriculture is depends upon the nature. It depends upon the monsoon. At the peak season, the supply of the commodities will increase. At the off season, the supply of commodity will decrease. It is a type of a gamble. It is a gamble of nature. It depends upon the monsoon. So sometimes whenever the supply of agricultural commodities increases at the market level, the prices of the commodities will decline. And on the other hand, As we know, the agriculture is a gamble of monsoon. It means during the peak season, the supply of agricultural commodities increases, and during off season, the supply of agricultural commodities will decline. So this increasing supply of agricultural commodities and declining supply of agricultural commodities will affect on the prices of agricultural commodities and availability of agricultural commodities. So, and at some times during good monsoon season, we will get ample of agricultural commodities. The supply of agricultural commodities increase. In adverse natural situation, there will be a decline in the production. So it depends upon the nature. It depends upon the season. So therefore, the increasing supply and declining supply will fluctuate the prices of agricultural commodities, and these fluctuating prices of agricultural commodities will not give a permanent income, will not give a regular income to the farmers or the producers. So agricultural prices, the government tried to maintain the stability in the prices of agricultural commodity. So in this particular point we will study the what efforts have been taken by government in order to maintain the stability of the agricultural prices of agricultural commodities. Review and critical evaluation, in this point we will study this particular issue. Then in the next point, 2.3, food security and in India and challenges and policies. The issue of food security is very important as far as the country's development is concerned. In this food security, whether our country is in a position to provide ample amount of food grains to our country, whether our agricultural sector is in a position to fulfill the needs of our own individuals, whatever the food grains we do produce in agricultural sector, they are enough to supply, they are enough to meet the both ends of our individuals of our country. It is what the important issue is. So food security is related with this particular issue. We will study this particular point, food security in India, under 3 points: availability of food grains, affordability of food grains, and accessibility of food grains. Whether our agricultural sector produces enough amount of food grains which are required for each and every individual of the country. The first point, availability of food grains in the country. The second point, which is related with the accessibility. Accessibility means whether each and every individual is in a position to purchase that available amount of food grains. And the third point, which is related with this food security, is affordability. Affordability means the purchasing power of the individual we will count in that particular affordability point. So in this way, in this third point of second unit, we will study the issues which are related with food security in India. As far as the Indian economy is concerned, the availability means physical availability of food grains is there. We are producing ample amount of food grains in order to meet the dietary needs of our individuals of the country. But as far as the quality of food grain is concerned, we are lacking in that providing a good quality of food grains to our country. That is what the issue we are facing nowadays. So that we will discuss in detail while studying this particular point on food security in India, challenges and policy. And at last, the fourth point of the second unit on agricultural development is agricultural indebtedness, extent, causes and remedies. Agricultural indebtedness means how much of, how many of, or what proportion of farmers they depends upon agricultural loan, and from what sources they are getting these agricultural loans. What sources means whether they are getting these loans from organized sector or they depend upon unorganized sector in order to get the loans to meet their demands. So how the indebtedness of the farmers, which is also responsible for the suicides of the farmers in our country, what is the extent of indebtedness of the farmers in our country? What are the reasons of indebtedness of agricultural indebtedness of the farmers in our country? This particular issue we will discuss in this last point, or that is fourth content of our second unit. So in this way, this is what the second unit of our syllabus. In tomorrow's lecture, I will explain the third and fourth unit. I will give a brief outline of third and fourth unit of our syllabus. Thank you very much.